good look at that view. 40 stories up, floor-to-ceiling glass, and a smart lock system that makes you feel like you're living in the future. You paid a premium for this, for the security, the status, and the comfort. But here's the cold, hard truth the developers didn't put in the brochure. In a total grid-down scenario, this $1 million sanctuary transforms into a high-tech coffin in less than 48 hours. While you're staring out at a darkened skyline, you'll realize that luxury is just another word for total dependency. When the pumps fail, your water stops. When the HVAC dies, your glass palace becomes a greenhouse in July and a meat locker in January. You aren't living in a fortress. You're trapped in a vertical island with 500 hungry neighbors and no way out, but a dark stairwell you've never even used. Welcome to Cyber Rat. I'm here to help you deconstruct the systems we take for granted and rebuild your survival logic from the ground up. Today, we aren't just talking about gear. We're analyzing why the modern urban dream is a structural death trap, and why the very things you think are protecting you are actually the things that will seal your fate. If you think your penthouse is safe because it's high up, you've already made your first fatal mistake. Let's fix your mindset before the world breaks for good. Most people watching this think they have a plan. You got a 2-week supply of freeze-dried meals, a high-end water filter, and maybe a tactical flashlight on your nightstand. You think you can hunker down and outwait the chaos. But here's the problem. Your survival plan is built on a foundation of centralized fragility. In the next 10 minutes, we're going to strip away the drywall and look at the brutal physics of your building. We're talking about why luxury actually means lethal when the infrastructure collapses. I'm going to show you why the very height that gives you that beautiful view is actually a countdown timer on your life. We'll break down the hydraulic collapse, why your plumbing will fail even if the city pipes are full, and the thermal greenhouse effect that will turn your living room into an oven. But more importantly, I'm going to give you the tactical countermeasures. I'm talking about hard science fixes that the average resident doesn't even know exist. Stick around until the end, because I'm going to reveal a single $20 industrial tool that is more valuable than a safe full of gold when the elevators go dark. If you don't have this in your go bag, you aren't a survivor. You're just a spectator. Let's look at the first system that's going to betray you: the water. Let's talk about the first thing that will break: hydraulics. Your luxury condo relies on a massive, energy-hungry system of booster pumps hidden in the basement. Water is heavy. It weighs about 8.3 pounds per gallon. To get that water from the city main up to your 20th floor rainfall showerhead, your building has to fight gravity every second of the day. The moment the grid goes dark and the backup generators run out of diesel, gravity wins. It's called static head pressure. Without those pumps, the water in the lines drops back to the lowest point. You might get a few pathetic drips from your faucet for an hour, but after that, nothing. And it gets worse. When the pumps die, the pressure in the sewage lines changes, without a constant flow to wash waste down, and with hundreds of neighbors still trying to use their toilets out of habit. You're looking at a catastrophic backup. In a survival situation, unsanitary water kills more people than bullets. You're not just thirsty, you're living in a biohazard. Then there's the thermodynamics of your glass palace. Modern condos are basically giant heat sinks. That beautiful floor-to-ceiling glass, it has an R value, a measure of thermal resistance, that is pathetic compared to a standard brick-and-mortar wall. In the summer, your apartment is a literal greenhouse. Without the HVAC system moving air and stripping out moisture, the greenhouse effect will spike the internal temperature 20 to 30 degrees above the outside air within hours. In the winter, the opposite happens. Glass is a terrible insulator. It radiates your body heat straight into the atmosphere. You're trapped in a structural radiator that's cooling down to ambient temperatures while you're shivering in your designer living room. You've traded the thermal mass of a cave for the transparency of a cage. You aren't just losing your comfort, you're losing your ability to regulate your core temperature. Now, let's look at the most unpredictable variable in this entire equation, the human element. In a luxury high-rise, you aren't just living in a building, you're living in a high-density social pressure cooker. When the lights go out for good, the social contract starts to fray at the edges within 72 hours. It begins with normalcy bias. Your neighbors, the tech exec on the 12th floor, the influencer on the 30th, they'll stay put. They'll wait for an official announcement or a maintenance crew that isn't coming. They believe the system is too big to fail. But once the hunger kicks in and the toilets stop flushing, that bias turns into desperation-induced aggression. Think about your exit strategy, the stairwell. It's the only way out, and it's about to become the most dangerous place on Earth. In a grid-down scenario, those stairs are pitch black, unventilated, and narrow. You're trying to haul a 40-pound go bag down 50 flights of stairs while hundreds of panicked, unprepared people are trying to claw their way up or down at the same time. This is where the system's thinking comes in. In a disaster, density is your enemy. You are surrounded by people who have zero survival skills but a high sense of entitlement. When they realize their gold cards can't buy a gallon of water, they won't look for a solution. They'll look for someone who has one. Your safe luxury floor is now a dead-end corridor with no secondary egress. You aren't just fighting the environment, you're navigating a vertical maze of human panic. In this environment, your greatest threat isn't the disaster itself. It's the person standing on the other side of your designer door who didn't prepare as well as you did. So, the grid is dead, your floor is a furnace, and the stairwell is a nightmare. What's the play? You don't just sit there and pray for a rescue, you execute a strategic egress. But before you step foot in that hallway, you need to solve the water problem at its source. Earlier, I promised to show you a $20 tool that's worth more than your stock portfolio. This is it, the four-way Silcock key. In the world of urban engineering, commercial buildings, including your luxury tower, use specialized, tamper-proof valves for their external water spigots to prevent theft and vandalism. They don't have handles. Without this key, you're staring at a dry pipe. But with it, you have access to the dead water trapped in the building's lower-level lines and the municipal supply that still has enough residual pressure to pool at ground level. While your neighbors are fighting over a vending machine, you're at the base of the building tapping into a literal life stream. But water is only half the battle. You need to manage your environment while you plan your move. If you're forced to stay for 24 hours, forget your curtains. You need Mylar thermal film. It costs pennies. By taping this directly to those massive glass windows, you're reflecting 90% of solar radiation back outside, dropping your internal temperature by double digits instantly. It's a low-tech, hard science fix that turns your glass oven back into a habitable zone. The final piece of the puzzle? Vertical egress logic. Don't try to carry your life on your back. If you have a high-end mountain bike or a foldable e-bike, that is your primary extraction vehicle. It fits in the stairwell, it moves faster than a crowd, and it doesn't require a gas station. The goal isn't to survive in the trap, it's to use these tools to bypass the panic, secure your vitals, and get to a low-density environment where the physics are back in your favor. Look, the point of this analysis isn't to make you paranoid, it's to make you objective. Modern luxury is a beautiful lie built on top of a very fragile machine. Once you understand the mechanics of that machine, you stop being a victim of its failure and start becoming an operator of your own survival. If you're currently living in one of these vertical islands, you're already on the clock. You need to stop looking at your apartment as a home and start seeing it as a system that requires a manual override. If you're watching this from the 15th floor or higher, I want you to drop a comment right now saying, Level 15. I'm putting together a specialized high-rise bug-out checklist. The exact gear and route planning strategies you need to descend 50 flights of stairs in total darkness without losing your mind or your gear. I'll be sending that out to the community members who are ready to take this seriously. This is just the beginning. In the next video, we're going to dive into the low-tech energy solutions that can keep your comms alive when the towers go silent. I'm Cyber Rat. You can either wait for someone to come and fix your world, or you can learn how to repair your own destiny and survive the collapse. Hit that subscribe button to join the Rat Pack. Stay grounded, stay sharp, and keep your tools ready. I'll see you in the next sector. You're still here? Good. That means you're the 1% who actually pays attention to the details. Since you stayed, I'll give you one last strategic advantage that most people overlook. While everyone is focused on getting out of the city, they forget that cities are actually massive resource mines, if you know where to look. Take a look at your building's fire suppression system, those red pipes running through the garage. Most people think they're just for fires. But as a systems analyst, I see them as a pressurized 5,000-gallon emergency water reservoir that sits stagnant and forgotten. In a total collapse, that dead water is a gold mine. It's not drinkable right away. It's full of rust and chemicals, and hung with a basic distillation setup and a sand filter, you have a private well in a concrete jungle. The world isn't going to end because we ran out of resources. It's going to end because people forgot how to use the ones right in front of them. Stop being a consumer. Start being a scavenger of systems. This was the deep file briefing for Cyber Rat. Now seriously, get off the screen and go check your stairwell. I'll see you in the shadows.